Have you ever felt like you're doing absolutely everything right? Diet, exercise, the whole deal. But the scale just refuses to move? Yeah, you're definitely not alone. So today, we're going to dive into a totally different way of thinking about this. It's an approach that's actually been around forever, but it's now getting some serious scientific backing. We're talking about intermittent fasting, and we're going to see how it all boils down to one simple, powerful thing: our hormones. I mean, we've all heard it a million times, right? Eat less, move more. It sounds so simple. But if it really were that easy, wouldn't we all be walking around in perfect health? The truth is, for so many of us, that advice just flat out fails in the long run. So what if the problem isn't our willpower? What if the problem is the advice itself? For decades, we've been completely obsessed with what we eat. You know the drill: counting every calorie, cutting out carbs, avoiding fat. We've been focusing on the food. But what if that's only looking at half the picture? What if the real secret has nothing to do with what you're eating, but everything to do with when you're not eating? That is the entire idea behind intermittent fasting. It's just about giving your body a chance to take a break from constantly digesting food so it can finally turn its attention to burning the fuel it's already got stored away. Okay, so you might be thinking this is just some new, trendy fad. But the person who really pushed this into the mainstream is a doctor named Jason Fung. He's a kidney specialist who got so frustrated seeing his patients with type 2 diabetes just get sicker and sicker following the standard advice. He knew there had to be a better way. But when Dr. Fung first started talking about using fasting as a therapy, oh man, the medical community did not like it. Doctors, dietitians, you name it, they came after him. They thought he was this crazy, dangerous guy. But he stuck with it because the results he was seeing were just too powerful to ignore. And this is what really got him. He saw this massive contradiction right in his own field. I mean, doctors tell people to fast all the time, before surgery or for blood tests. It's considered completely normal, completely safe. So why is it suddenly dangerous when the goal is to lose weight? It doesn't add up, right? Now, I know exactly what you might be thinking right now, but wait, won't I go into starvation mode? That is the number one, absolute, biggest fear that stops people from even trying this. This idea that if you skip a meal, your whole metabolism is just going to grind to a halt and you'll actually gain weight. Well, here's the thing that might just blow your mind. That whole starvation mode idea, it's a complete myth. In fact, the exact opposite happens. Short-term fasting doesn't crash your metabolism. It actually revs it up. Your body isn't shutting down, it's firing up. Get this, one study looked at people who fasted for 4 days straight. And what happened? Their metabolic rate, the speed at which they burn calories, actually went up by 10%. That means they were burning more energy just sitting there than they were before the fast. How amazing is that? Dr. Fung has this great analogy. Think about a lion after a huge meal. What's it do? It gets lazy, lethargic, it just wants to sleep. Now think about a wolf that hasn't eaten in a while. It's not sleepy, it's sharp, it's focused, it's energized because it needs that energy to go hunt. That's your body on a fast. It's the energized wolf, not the sleepy lion. So, okay, if your body gets more energy when you fast, how does it all work? What's the mechanism? Well, it all comes down to one really important hormone that you've definitely heard of. Let's talk about insulin. Think of insulin as the master switch for your body's energy. It basically has two settings. When insulin is high, it flips the switch to store fat. But when insulin is low, it flips the switch over to burn fat. It's that black and white. So let's just walk through it real quick. Step 1, you eat food. Any food. Insulin levels go up. And boom, the fat storage switch is turned on. Now let's say you fast. Your insulin levels fall way down. And click, the fat burning switch is turned on. The key is, you can't have both switches on at the same time. It's one or the other. Okay, so if the big problem is that our insulin levels are too high too often, keeping us stuck in fat storage mode, well, the solution starts to look pretty simple, doesn't it? We've just got to find a way to lower our insulin. And Dr. Fung lays out a really straightforward 2-part plan to do exactly that. Part 1 is all about when you eat, or rather, when you don't. By simply extending the time when you're not eating, whether that's a 16-hour fast overnight or a full 24-hour fast, you give your insulin levels the time they need to drop low enough. And once they're low enough, your body can finally flip that switch and start using its own stored body fat for energy. It's literally eating its own fat for fuel. But here's the crucial second part of the puzzle. Fasting is incredibly powerful, But what you eat during your eating window is just as important. Because it turns out not all foods are created equal when it comes to insulin. Just take a look at this. You can eat, say, 100 calories of carbs from white bread, and your insulin will shoot through the roof. It's a massive spike. But if you eat that same 100 calories of carbs from something like beans, you get a much, much lower and slower insulin response. The hormonal signal is completely different. So what's going on here? Well, it mostly comes down to one word: processing. Highly processed foods, like that white bread, have been stripped of all their natural fiber. Without the fiber to slow things down, all that sugar just slams into your bloodstream at once, causing that huge, unnatural insulin spike. And that spike not only tells your body to store fat, it also triggers cravings, making you want more of that same junk food. So as you can probably see by now, this is about so much more than just the number on the scale. This is a fundamental shift in how we think about health itself. It's about moving beyond just counting calories and starting to think about our hormones. And I think this quote from Dr. Fung really says it all. His goal isn't just to promote a new diet. It's to start a much bigger conversation, to get us all to step back and say, hey, maybe we've been focused on the wrong thing. Let's think about the hormones. Because that's where the real magic happens. When you start addressing the root hormonal cause, you can do more than just manage chronic diseases like type 2 diabetes. You can actually work to reverse them. Instead of just treating the symptoms with more and more medication, you're fixing the underlying problem. And that is a total game changer in medicine. So I'll just leave you with this one final thought to chew on. What if we've been playing the wrong game this whole time? What if the real key to our health isn't the endless, frustrating math of counting calories, but something much more fundamental: learning how to control our hormones? It's a simple question, but the answer could change everything.